What's happening, Brighton? The short answer is a lot. The long answer is this podcast. What's Up, Brighton is a show dedicated to the community we all love.
Hosted by Roger Burnett, Eric Meldrum, and Coach Mark Howell, this podcast will feature news, issues, and discussions impacting Livingston County and celebrate the people who make our slice of Michigan go and grow. This is What's Up, Brighton. So what's up, Brighton?
What's
this
up?
Here's Coach Mark over here.
What's up?
There's Eric.
Yo.
We're going to do what we always do. This time I'm going to speak via Tumblr.
Oh,
So thanks to Michelle Cousineau, I can explain to you that we're going to do the one word from everybody, kicking her off. Then we're going to talk about some stuff, something that's rather controversial in town.
Rather controversial.
And we'll let the coach loose. Hopefully he'll be able to figure out how to tie those two things together, and then we'll leave it to Eric. Does that sound like a good episode, guys?
Let's go.
Let's make it happen, huh?
sounds like a good one.
All right. I'm going first because I don't know if you can tell, I'm a little fired up this morning. So I stepped out of the shower. I told these guys doing these 5-minute cold showers to finish the shower every day, which, by the way, lengthens your shower a ton. Just taking an extra 5 minutes to freeze yourself. But I feel like a superhero when I get out of that thing. And so my one word for today is relentless.
Let's go.
I feel relentless, and based on what you've heard and seen so far, I'm behaving as such. So, Eric, what do you got?
It's all energy. That transitions into my one word, which is energy, because I'm feeling it. There's a lot of energy in this room right now. We had a great day yesterday at the Tigers game. A lot of energy there, and Mark needs some energy because he's milking that. He's milking it. Dehydration.
I am. I'm not gonna lie.
What's your one word today?
My one word was gonna kind of play off of the topic today. That's why I had like multiple choices.
Oh.
Mine is gonna be wisdom. So not in the same arena as you guys at all, but wisdom.
Philosophical.
Yes, very philosophical. But wisdom and kind of the relationship between kindness and wisdom. And that's going to be kind of where I'm going to go with it today. And I think it's going to tie in nicely with the topic that we're gonna hit on a little bit, and also the Coach's Corner Huddle Up segment, and wrap it up.
Cool.
All right, couple things. Let me see if I can tie those together. So with relentless energy often comes wisdom.
Okay, let's go.
Ooh.
There we go.
Way to
Because
go.
guess
There's
what?
always a good way to tie it in.
Go.
Because guess what? You can take some relentless energy and make a big old mistake.
Absolutely.
And with that comes wisdom. So accumulated wisdom really isn't just like, oh, well, then I succeeded at this and then I succeeded at that. It's like, well, no, like I may have had some wins, but I probably learned a little bit more from the failures in the process. So relentless energy, I think, does definitely create some wisdom. So we'll make that work. That works out okay. So one of the things that's really cool about living in our community is the fact that we like to invest in the beautiful parts about what makes our city what it is, correct?
Yes.
Think about when you're driving down Main Street, the flowering baskets that hang from the light poles, and like how they just, God bless landscape architects who comes every day and water those things, makes them look so beautiful for everybody as they're going through downtown. Now we have the planters. Everybody's going to weigh in as to whether they like the planters, don't like the planters. Did you see the planters in front of Chowamichi's were tipped over?
Oh,
No, I did not.
I did not either.
Yes, they were.
How are they tipped over?
That's a very good question.
Aren't they? Oh, the big ones.
The big one.
Oh, that was
on its side.
Wow.
I'm wondering if it's the same people that broke the fire pit. That might have tipped over.
I was just walking, and I saw a flower pot broken on the side of the building over here.
See?
On the side of the speakeasy.
We got a little something going on over here.
So
with
I wonder if it's related.
We got some
Couple of rowdy kids, maybe.
We're gonna end up with like the cameras on downtown if you guys keep messing around, and that's no fun. So
It's probably people from Howell.
Oh, that is so good. That is so incredibly good. But one of the other investments that we've made as a community dating back a very, very, very long time, I'm not going to directly attribute it to John Sauvé and his Man in the City project. For those of you who know what that is, we'll put some information. If you don't, you can follow John Sauve, Man in the City art project, and how amazing that's been. But we have a lot of art.
We do
in Brighton.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden around too, which is nice.
Yep.
It's like on different corners and behind buildings, like you'd never expect. Like, oh, well, that's pretty cool.
And if you're not looking for it, you could blow right by all that stuff and never even realize, like, oh, we have sculptures and lawn art essentially, and like, then we have this one piece of art that seemingly is the only piece of art in our entire city that anybody really seems to know about or care about. Eric, would you like to continue this story for us?
I think we can all agree that this piece of art is the topic of conversation, around town, because during the streetscape, it was dispositioned, we'll say. It had to be moved somewhere. And then there was like, hey, is it coming back? Is it not coming back? And this is the decision pending statue, which is downtown, that has been situated right on Mill Pond, right? Had this statue been somewhere else, like not so predominantly displayed in the downtown area, I don't know that we would have the same conversation. I don't think we would be having this topic, very controversial, across the platform here. But the location is prominent, and I did some research on this, just to kind of get my bearings straight. I knew the story on the decision pending, but I didn't know the whole history of like how controversial this has been, dating back to 2006.
No,
is that when it came out? 2006.
Yeah,
it's just a thing for all of us to put jerseys on.
I mean, that's where I come in. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Anyway, I interrupted as you were saying.
So, we're talking about the ugly naked guy. If you don't know it, besides the decision pending, that's the actual name for it. That's the statue of the name. A guy by the name of Jay Holland actually sculpted it, and he was a predominant figure in the Detroit art world, dating back. So Brighton just decided to take the statue, from this guy and put it right on Mill Pond. And even dating back to 2006, this was like the talk of the town, right? You can imagine, like, and if
headline news.
Headline news. I love it.
Oh, that's headline. I'm going to go over some headlines.
Yeah,
too,
it was straight up headline news.
It was crazy. So,
but Eric, it was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time, and I think this is where it gets even more interesting, is because think about Brighton back in 2006. Okay, I wasn't even here yet.
Pre Great Recession. This is boomtown Brighton.
Yeah.
This was, holy cow, Batman. Like, Brighton, you think it's something now? That was like the early heyday of Brighton's growth, right?
20 years, this town has changed significantly.
Yeah.
Right. So very much horse and buggy, back in 2006.
For sure.
That's how I went to high school. Yeah, every day.
You just rode the donkey into town.
Actually, Mount Brighton had a tow rope straight to the high school.
There you go.
It was on my skateboard, and yeah.
So I got to give it to this article is from Buddy Morehouse. This is from the Livingston Post, and they clipped some headlines out of this, which I just thought was so funny. Like, these are coming from people. These are quotes from people in the city. So when they're talking about the statue, the headline is, "Just haul it to the junkyard now."
That's awesome.
Kevin Lampron.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for your contribution.
Here's one. What talent did it take to make this?
Oh my God.
Shots fired, in the words of Coach Mark. Shots fired.
Wow. This was from Joanne Johnson. She didn't even live in Brighton. She was from Milford. So whatever, get out of here. This one's great. It's just a redneck piece of art.
Yeah.
Wow. There it is. That probably came from somebody in Novi. Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Deborah Weeks, Genoa Township.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
In the Void area, Genoa Township, as we've been learning, the Void area, Genoa Township.
Yeah. So now, we are beyond the streetscape, and the statue is back.
Guess who's back?
Let's go.
Back again.
Just made its debut
Naked
back
man.
into the downtown. 2024, mark it, earmark that. It's going down in history, and all the headlines are back. Right.
And it's amazing how well we have shown how we've grown as a community since 2006 to today, I'm sure that the comments had to be markedly different than they were originally.
Can you think about for a moment if the city were ever in like dire straits and they had to auction off the naked man? Like, talk about raising some serious. The fundraiser in me is like, I guarantee you that goes for some serious coin.
Yeah. Mark Howell calls dibs. Fun to Life has dibs.
Right?
So
Come on.
So here's a great question: How much more or less do you think they would make if they said we are auctioning it off to give it to somebody, or they spun it with a different headline: is we are auctioning it off to remove it from the city
to make it go away?
What's
it
funny
would be
is
interesting.
It would raise more money to go to someone, because I think that the people that are the loudest voices that don't like it are the people that are just miserable in their own lives and they just sit at home.
And those people aren't going to donate.
They're not going to donate anything.
Donate.
They're also the people with like the hardened hearts and like they just sit back in their skeptic chairs and they hate everything and everybody and everything. And they're probably the same ones that hate on the Girl Scout food pantry and you know, people trying to just do good, but yet they do nothing. So good job, you people.
Tinfoil hat people.
Let's go.
My favorite was, congratulations, I'll never spend another dime in downtown Brighton.
Oh, that guy. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Because it's offensive to my children. I can't. This is what makes art beautiful, though, isn't it? Really, though, like this is what art is supposed to do.
Right.
And the fact that we had a very robust conversation, by the way, the comments were like you could almost overlay them from back then to now. Not much growth.
Yeah.
Not much growth at all. It was nice for once, though, to see the non-haters dig in and just start lobbing facts back.
Yeah.
It was great.
That was cool. That was
cool.
so
amazing.
Well, because most of the time those people are pretty quiet, right?
Agreed.
They sit back and
Scroll
they see it and they're
by.
like, because going back to my word, they have some wisdom behind them. They're just like, whatever, this is a pointless conversation. I'm never going to get anywhere with these people.
Yeah, you can't win.
But they dialed in a little bit. That was awesome. And honestly, I didn't know a lot of that stuff about the sculptor coming back and kind of rebuilding his life from Vietnam. Like, I knew none of that. So like, I learned a lot just reading some of the comments and learning some of the history. I'm like, cool. I just thought he was a cool guy. Like you said earlier, that we threw jerseys and t-shirts on, and yeah, it was a piece of art. I'm sure it had a story, but I'm not a big art guy. I don't like dive in. I'm just kind of neutral, and I enjoyed learning more about it.
I think that it's like a great point. It's like once you learn a little bit more about the background of something, you just have this different appreciation for it. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I don't hate it as much as I did before, or like, yeah, I get it, right? Somebody was trying to do some good,
absolutely,
for it. But so this was cracking me up. So I was reading this article more, and this person's name's been brought up multitude of times, and I don't want to shine a spotlight on this person, but we're going to anyways. We're going to gaslight this lady. So in the article, this I'll just read it, right?
There you go.
This person is a thorn in the Brighton City Council.
Oh, I already know who it is. Here we go.
Let's see if you can guess it. Who is it?
I'm forgetting the name, but when you say it, it's going to register.
All right. So she was called out in this article, and her name is Susan Walters.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
There it is.
She was called out in this article, and I had been introduced to this person because when I first started the page, the group in Brighton, Michigan Happenings, she kept reporting posts, commenting, like she was just like a fly on this. Like, I'm like, oh my God, what is this lady's deal? Like, what's going on? Like, why are all these things happening? And so I quickly, like, she messaged me and I quickly removed her from the group. So I'm like, yeah, we're not getting along here. We're not seeing eye to eye. Well, in this article, Buddy Morehouse calls her a gadfly.
A gadfly.
Do you guys know what that is?
I have no idea what that is.
I had to look it up. I had to look up what a gadfly was.
This is going to be awesome.
I'm like,
because Buddy, he does
like,
not cut corners. So this is going to be interesting.
I feel like that is a dig on her. Well, a gadfly is a fly that bites livestock, especially a horsefly, warbly fly, or both fly. So,
you ever been bitten by a horsefly?
Oh yeah.
Fun?
Yeah, not fun.
Not at all.
Zero fun.
Not fun.
Zero fun. So, congratulations, you've been called zero fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you are a painful nuisance.
She was quoted, "I am disgusted. I'm appalled at the statue."
Yeah. There you have it.
And her one follower Took that nowhere.
Okay, so in keeping with our pledge for positivity, one of the things that would be awesome, wouldn't it, if those of us who count this area as our home, when we were to welcome new visitors to our area, to be able to also say, would you like us to take you for a walk around all of the different art installations that we have in our downtown? What? You have art in your downtown? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, not only can we take you, we can tell you all of the stories of the pieces because a description of each of them exists today.
Mm-hmm.
It's just most of us do what, guys? We drive right by them.
True.
And never even think of twice to think like, wow, that's part of what makes our community really cool.
Yeah.
So we should really argue about it and really find it appalling.
But this is the only piece of art that people bitch about.
Of course, because the rest of them, as far as they're concerned, they don't exist.
They don't exist.
So that's what makes it provocative and that's what makes it good. Sorry.
Yep. That's what makes it the best one. Absolutely.
You were talking before the show. You remember that the leaning head?
Yeah.
Right. Where did that move to? Anybody know?
Good. See, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like where we should. Okay, so inquiring minds wants to know because I would have told you. I don't even know what the third most talked about piece was, but the head was the second most talked about piece because where it was in downtown, it used to be right by the main stoplight in town.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're pulling in from coming down the hill, you got to look at that dude. And if you've had a bad day, he's looking at you like, hey, you're going to go make your life better? What's going on today? Like, God, I wish that guy wouldn't stare at me every day when I come home.
Quit judging me, bro.
Right?
Quit judging me.
But now I don't know exactly. So I guess I have another job. Go figure out where the big head is.
We'll go figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I guess at the end of the day, what this is all about is like healthy discourse is fun. It's part of what makes some of the Facebook forums that we participate in like entertaining. But they just all have this tendency to devolve to a place where people are appalled and disgusted.
Human nature, man.
And I just like, if we really measured, if there was a scale of like, what's really appalling? And then applied some of the things that that adjective gets applied to.
Right.
I think we'd established that not so appalling, maybe just a little annoying.
Yeah, it's not disrupting my day.
No, I have young kids and never once have they commented on being disturbed by the naked man or been impacted by it whatsoever because it's not offensive at all. It's just a cool thing. You can walk on by if you don't really care to look at it. It's all good.
The other nickname for it was the Elephant Man. Did you know that one?
I thought I had heard that.
Yeah.
The Elephant Man.
Where did that come from?
I was going to ask you guys if you knew.
I don't know.
I just think the kids on the street, like check out the Elephant Man. Isn't he weird?
Yeah.
Let's put a jersey on him.
I think the Elephant Man came from like the circus. I think there was like a guy who looked disfigured, disformed.
That makes sense.
I think that was kind of like back in the circus days of, hey, there's an Elephant Man, like go see this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the every person's description of what they saw, not the very nuanced representation of a man's struggle to rebuild his life after he's been torn apart by war.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody's going to go to that depth.
Yeah, that's the real story.
But that is the real story. So now, hopefully, in much the same way as some of the other monuments that we happen to pay great tribute to, such as like the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall that has a tendency to show up in town. Nobody seems to have a problem with that.
No.
But somehow the statue, who also is in the same representation of honoring people who have given much to our country. Anyway, the lecture should probably be over. Are you or a loved one struggling with the effects of stroke? The Oxford Center in Brighton, Michigan offers a cutting-edge alternative stroke treatment that can help stroke victims even years after having a stroke. Our approach combines traditional medicine with evidence-based alternative therapies, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy. This advanced treatment involves breathing pure oxygen in a specialized environment that can stimulate the growth of new blood vessels and promote healing in the brain. We also offer physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy programs to help patients regain their strength, coordination, and ability to communicate. Time is of the essence when it comes to stroke recovery. Contact the Oxford Center today at 248-486-3636 or visit our website at theoxfordcenter.com to learn more about our alternative stroke treatment options, including hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That's 248-486-3636 or visit theoxfordcenter.com. Coach,
I love it though.
How are you going to pull this one back together?
I think it ties in.
Okay, good.
It ties in.
I
think it does tie in, right?
Okay.
So with
Coach
my
Mark
word of the
with
day,
the Huddle Up segment, ladies and
it
gentlemen.
was the one word was wisdom today, and I was going back and forth between wisdom and kindness and how they work together, and I just started kind of just thinking on that, right? Just brainstorming a little bit, and I kind of came up to like kindness. In my opinion, kindness is like the most powerful and profound version of wisdom, right? The ability to be kind and show kindness within like any scenario with anybody, no matter how they're treating you or what the event is or whatever, like that takes some true wisdom to understand that lifting others is going to get you far further in life than belittling them or tearing them down or anything. And so I think it goes well with, I think, the statue interpretation, and the naked man. I think it goes well with just kindness and how we treat each other, especially on our keyboards or in person. And I was just thinking of like, we would never treat so many people the way that we do through our laptops and our phones and our devices. We would never have that kind of courage, because I think some of it is we have the ability in the moment to take a step back and show a piece of wisdom in that we interpret something, we kind of sit on it for a moment, and then we react to it. Whereas a keyboard, you have that ability to just instantly react, right? And I think that there's such wisdom in kindness and lifting others up. And ultimately, when we brighten someone else's path, we illuminate our own. And by embracing kindness, we show an act of wisdom in every single action. And acting on that kindness will transform the world around you. And so it's just really a message, I think, today of, just reflect on that. Reflect on, are you showing wisdom and kindness in your life, or are you reacting and getting sucked into negative? Are you lifting others up and showcasing them kindness and love, or are you looking to tear them down? Are you leading a company, a team, an organization, a group, a community, something, an effort, right? And by doing that, are you empowering others and showing them all equal kindness and lifting them up and empowering them and making them feel awesome about themselves? Or are you simply pointing out all the things that are wrong with maybe their ideas or what they're doing or their skill levels? And I think by celebrating, empowering, and lifting them up, we can all go a lot further together.
Coach's DVD. We're on volume 2 of the DVD now. Pre-orders are being accepted for the second installment of Huddle Up with Coach Mark. Here's one thing I want to add to that, Mark.
Yes, please do.
A lot of people will hear that and say, yep. And if I find the person that I feel like is deserving of that, I'll give it to them. The rest of the time, what you get from that person is ambivalence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's almost as bad as being negative.
Absolutely.
Because there's people walking around right now who could be the next whatever.
Yeah.
And all it takes is someone to not be ambivalent to them to make them realize, like, oh my God, like, I am important. I do matter. I might be able to do something if I'm just in an environment with other people who don't make me feel like I'm nothing. And I feel like a lot of people walk around believing that they're nothing and then looking for reasons to be reinforced by that.
And to that, I think what's awesome about that is any leader or person of influence, which we all are in some variation, right? Whether we want to accept it or not. Some of us are just more prominent, maybe leaders or, spoken people than others. But as somebody who has coached teams or been around groups of people and led different people, I can tell you that every single time when you are able to reach that person that seems unreachable and seems incapable of hitting that next threshold or getting outside of their own head and really going for it and growing beyond their wildest dreams, that pays dividends that are, you just can't even measure them. And when you see the leader step forward and grow, that's one thing, and that's cool. And that's great. And it's like, oh, cool, they took another step in their growth. But when you see people who are otherwise incapable of doing that, and you help facilitate that growth and you help them break through those barriers, oh man, that's life-changing, and that's soul fueling. And that just ignites you to just want to do even more. And so I guess I just encourage people to, I think to that point, like look for those people because they have gifts, they have abilities. They're just in their own way to reaching down and finding them. So how do we dig a little bit deeper?
Have you ever had this? You've had to have had this. And in the movies, this is the best time. There's we got something hard we're trying to do. And we get to that moment of like, we're in it. We're struggling. We need a breakthrough. And usually it's the one quiet person that suddenly speaks up and says some stuff. Yes. And everyone's like, let's go. Because now Pedro Serrano says, F you, Jobu, I do it myself. Absolutely. And the rest of the team's like, Jobu, yeah, you just got rid of that guy. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. It's Major League. You should go watch it. It's an amazing movie. It's an perfect example of what we're talking about. And it's that idea of like, you're probably the quiet person. You're probably the one that's slightly ambivalent. You're the one that was like, I could. Meh. And you might be the one that if you would just speak up, it could be the difference between that team getting through to the next level and not. So we feel it. We all feel it.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to hope that I'm hoping he's got something to tie this together for the final thought because it seems like we've touched on a theme here.
Yeah, I think, it reminds me of one of my coaches, always told me this. And he said, remember, no successful person is ever going to look back on you for putting in the work and shame you for making mistakes or doing something that you might feel uncomfortable doing. All right. And there's a multitude of different versions of that's been said before. And you might have heard that from somebody. But really summarizes like no successful person is going to look back and be like, well, you're doing a shitty job or you're doing like, they're not going to make you feel less than you are for doing something. Right. And we see that a lot in, the community, and we just touched on it with social media is like, it's really easy to get negative, really easy to just say stuff behind the keyboard. And you just got to remind yourself of like that person is hurting somewhere, right? Because no successful person or person that has a positive outlook on life is going to stoop down to that level and engage in that type of activity. It's just not going to happen. Right. So like that just reminds me of the community that we live in. All right. When I hear people, say, what is the best thing about Brighton? And that's one of the questions we ask to get into the Facebook group is, what do you love about Brighton? And time I hear it's the community, right? It's the people here. And there's amazing people, right? But there's also, that next level down of like, where does this come from? Because I've had people, tell me it's like, I don't know, Brighton seems kind of like negative, about this. I'm like, no, trust me, that's just social media, right? People that walk downtown, go into the shops, you go into the stores, everybody's positive, right? Everybody's upbeat, right? We started an entrepreneurs group about a year ago. That got the most traction, and everybody was like eager to do it. I mean, you guys are both in CirrusNet, right? That is same thing, entrepreneurs group. And there's some amazing, entrepreneurs and people that are just looking for those groups. That's why those groups are so powerful.
Yep.
Right. And those type of things, because you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right. You don't have to go look far to pick up a positivity stick or have somebody kind of cheer you on, when you're having a tough day, because at the end of the day, doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, you just work a 9 to 5, like doesn't matter. Life's hard, right? Life sucks. Life's hard. It's going to be throwing jabs at you, right hooks, left hooks, uppercuts, right? And you got to juke and jive and figure it out. But the people that really kind of just stop and feel sorry for themselves, like I don't feel sorry for you at all. I really don't. I don't feel sorry for the situation that you're in. I don't feel sorry because you have a choice. You can dwell on that, or you can choose to move on and pick your head up and go figure it out. right? And surround yourself, put yourself in an environment where you can get help, you can get coaching, you can get, somebody to at least maybe just be a sunshine of light, for you to step through. And tying the final word together, like, it goes back to my one word, which is energy, right? Surround yourself with the energy that you need to be successful, in this. So that's it. That's all we got.
He said it. Sometimes we're all sunshine and smiles, and sometimes we're a little more down in the weeds. Today felt like a down in the weeds day a little bit. But I think, nothing like 3 white guys from the suburbs to be able to inspire people to do better, right? Like, I'm trying to be better. I think these guys are trying to be better. We want you all to be better too, because a better community means better for all of us. And, if we can all row the boat in the same direction, chances are we can get there a little bit more quickly. So that's it. That's all there is. Until next time, if you liked what you heard, or if you think somebody needs to know about why the naked man is not grotesque and appalling, please share this episode with them. If you'd like to hear more provocative commentary about what's going on in downtown Brighton, please subscribe to the channel, as it just reminds us that you all are paying attention and we would like to continue to grow the page. And until next time, gentlemen, this is a huge dose of positivity from Roger signing out.